I went and sat in my season ticket seat from when I was like 12 to I was 14. I went and sat in it, and I looked out the stadium, and I remember sitting in that seat like as a 12-year-old kid chanting players' names and thinking, what a feeling that must be, having like a whole stadium cheering for you.
I was sat just in front of Mia, and Mia, for almost the whole fight, was like this.
From the hotel, I go home at like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm in the taxi on the way home. The guy's like, oh, there was a boxing event at at the stadium tonight. And I was like yeah, I boxed, because I saw the cut, and I think we got on, don't know how we got onto it. He's like yeah, it was a local guy. And I was like, yeah, I said, yeah, that's me. He's like, no way. But Wigan kept saying, it was like, Chris Billam-Smith, world champion. Like, he said that for weeks, or then he just kept saying it. Every time I spoke to him, or we'd just be in the gym like 3-4 weeks later, and I'd be like, and he'd just say it. Like, just be silent, and he'd just say it. And yeah, so it was a really nice time.
My accidental tour of the British cruiserweight scene continues, and today it brings me to the gentleman. In boxing, everything's measured in rounds, so there's only one place to start. I'm Abs, and this is Rounds with Chris Billam-Smith. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Got a 5 and nearly 6-month-old baby now as well as the toddler, so hectic, but haven't boxed in a long time. Probably a blessing in disguise in a way, but yeah, just ready and raring to go again.
Round one, the underdog. The opening bell, the scene set, a fight a few touted to reach the top. Chris, without sounding impolite or rude, you've often been looked at as an underdog in your career. Has this given you more fire?
It's really motivated me at times, like, because at the end of the day, like, it's people's opinions. It really doesn't matter.
In a previous interview, you have said before that Shane described you as a nice kid, and that was possibly part of the reason why I took you on when you turned over. Being the underdog, did you ever truly believe that you'd become a world champion, or is that a futile question to ask somebody?
No, I always had this weird inner belief that I could do it. Like, I just needed the pieces to fall into place, and they did. I'm very, very fortunate I got the opportunity with Shane and the whole Wigan family, because without them, I think I had the right mindset. I was very coachable, and I was willing to work, but you need a world-class coach. But I always believed that I could do it. I felt like I needed the right team.
You mentioned a world-class coach and the wider McGuigan family. So your first loss to Riakporhe actually came at quite a hard time for the McGuigan family. Did that put the Riakporhe loss into perspective, that it's just boxing, or did it make it mean more that you wanted to do it for the family?
Yeah, it was hard for me, because they spent the night at my fight, like almost the whole family. They went to the hospital after to see Nika, and they couldn't, and they didn't have, I felt like I could have been a slight beacon of light in the most difficult time. She unfortunately passed away 3 days after that fight, so yeah, it was a really hard thing to do, and to take, but me and Shane said, funny enough, in the rematch, I wanted to get that one back for them, but Shane actually said the same to me. He was like, mate, I'm so happy about that, I always wanted that one back, because I felt like I wasn't there properly in the first fight because of the Nika and stuff like that. I didn't feel like he wasn't, but yeah, so it was nice for us to sort of get that one back and do it for Neeks. Yeah, because in the first fight we felt I'd done enough as well, and I remember Blaine was telling me he went back and told Danica, and all she said was, excuse my language, but she was like, oh, yeah, Chris, the judges sort of like, we felt like he'd done enough, and she just goes, fuck him. But that was Neek's very strong personality. She was an amazing woman, and but yeah, it was a difficult time for sure.
Round 2, the breakthrough, where momentum shifts and control changes hands. Chris, that big night at the Vitality Stadium, and Lawrence Okoli is coming to your backyard, but you're the challenger. What sort of things are going through your mind? Is this like a dream scenario, or is it kind of more pressure?
I think both, yeah. I think both. We tried the other champions and no one was available, but we wanted a champion. We put it to Ben Shalom and Sky and had a conversation. Then on Tuesday he said I think they'd mentioned it to him, but I don't think he knew that we'd mentioned it.
Oh really?
Yeah, because he was like on Sky like calling me out, like look, you've got a stadium
so
booked.
he thinks that it was his idea.
Yeah, stadium booked in 8 weeks and this, that and the other. Then I remember saying it later down the line and I feel like he was like, oh. And then obviously for me it was the dream fight. Most of the time the Jimmy got the better of me. Like there's no two ways about it.
So with that in mind, how did you think the fight was going to go then?
I knew I could beat him. I knew since he left the gym I'd done a lot of work building like my strength up and just knew I could do it. I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew I could do it.
You're in the changing room, you're about to go out. It's a couple of minutes before and then you hear Hometown Glory start playing. Like, to me, that seems it was such an iconic ring walk, like being there, it was like goosebumps. How were you feeling?
Yeah, at the time, I had no emotion because the night before I'd done the ring walk rehearsal. So, you know what it's like, you go to the stadium, you go through your ring walk, and I always do that and really use it as a visualization thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing it and I'm in the mode. In my head, I'm going to fight, even though the stadium's empty. And then I got in the ring, did a little shadow box like after the ring walk, and then chatting to Big Mo because he was there as well doing his pieces. And then I went and sat in my season ticket seat from when I was like 12 to I was 14. I went and sat in it and I looked out the stadium and I remember sitting in that seat like as a 12-year-old kid chanting players' names and thinking, what a feeling that must be having like a whole stadium cheering for you. And I remember that I took myself back to like 12-year-old version of me and thought that's gonna that's gonna be you tomorrow night. And I just get goosebumps thinking about it now. And like I got emotional then, like thinking about it, but that was really important to get emotional.
Do you think that helped you then take the emotions out of the day
So then
after?
on fight night, I was like, okay, from then till after the fight, there's like, it's just work mode. And it was so easy for me to just do that switch. I don't know why.
Is that always the case, or was it on that night in particular?
That night in particular, but a lot of the time, as long as I've done all the prep, done the ring walk rehearsal, like sometimes you do like, there's not a ring walk rehearsal as such, but I'll go to the arena on the day and I'll do my ring walk and walk through everything. And I think I was ill on the fight week as well. So I think that helped because I was like, okay, well, in my head, I was like, if I feel like I do, like this is like Wednesday or Thursday, if I feel like I do now on fight night, I'm not going to warm up. I'm just going to go out there and just do everything I can for, like, I'm not going to get not going to use too much energy because I felt so flat.
Good point.
I'd do a bit of mobility and stuff like that, but I was like, I'm not going to like hit the pads and stuff. I'll just go out there and just give it everything for 12 rounds.
And what did you end up doing?
In my head, I had a good warm up and I felt okay on the night. I don't know if that was adrenaline or I'd got genuinely better. Like I definitely felt better, like much better than I was Tuesday, Wednesday, but not 100%. And I remember I went down on the day of the fight and I sat with the Boxing News guys. And then I sat there and I was like thinking like, oh, I need some lunch, like what am I gonna have? And I just sat there and I was like thinking like, these aren't gonna believe this, but I just ended up having a chicken burger and chips and some sweets because I was thinking I just need calories.
Something, yeah.
And this is like 1 o'clock. I'm not fighting for another 9 hours at least. I was like, I just need as many calories as I can in the smallest amount. I was just like, I just had to get it in me because I couldn't stomach much because of the illness. So I was just like, it's a mad thing to think like the day I won my world title, what I had for lunch was mad. And I didn't really eat much after that either. I think what I'm trying to say is that took my mind off everything else, the noise and everything, that helped. So obviously the night before helped as well. But where I was like, okay, well, I just need to I'm not trying too hard in the fight because I know I can't. So that probably helped me as well. So weirdly, falling ill on World Title fight week, biggest fight of my life, was probably a blessing. It's mad how everything works out. But then obviously it was Frank's birthday on the Friday, and then fight was on the Saturday, and I promised him a World Title for his birthday, and he got it, and it was it was just perfect night.
It was unbelievable being there, but at times that fight was so hard to watch. Like Lawrence lands such heavy shots, like the sound of them is so intense, and I was sat just in front of Mia, and Mia, for almost the whole fight, was like this. And it was very interesting. I was sat and I couldn't take my eyes off her because I was just like, oh, Mia's behind us. Like, I want to see how she enjoyed it. But she was just like this. And then I think you drop a Coley in like the 11th round, and because it's coming to the end, like she really came alive and she's like, come on, Chris, like really screaming. But obviously not in the moment. But do you ever reflect on like what it's like for your family to watch you fight?
I've never watched. I've watched my brother box, but as an amateur. But watching my stablemates, I get a glimpse of what it's like for my family. It's not the same, but I love my stablemates, but I get nervous much more for them than I do my own fights because I have no control. And if you don't have any control apart from shouting, right? Shouting advice and hope they listen. But really, you can add 1% really. Whereas when you're in control and you're in the moment, you're in the ring, you've got full control. So I get a glimpse then, and it's hard. It is hard sometimes. It's really, really hard being outside the ring. Thankfully, I've got some super talented gym mates who make it very easy to watch them because they're miles ahead and they don't get hit and everything. So and they're phenomenal athletes. So I get a little glimpse of what it's like. But obviously, when it's your own flesh and blood, and my brothers, my mum, my dad, and me are there, I can't imagine what it's like for that. It must be difficult because I just imagine like Frank, my oldest, getting into it. I mean, he's only nearly 4, but
hey, well, Adam Azim went down to the gym when he was 4. I'm
sure.
Or maybe it was 6. Maybe it was 6.
Yeah, well, Frank's been in the gym, but thankfully he's not obsessed with it. But the other day he was out with my mum and her friend, and they look after their grandsons, and he did tell the other lad, I'm going to be a boxer like my daddy when I grow up. And then when my mum told me, I was like the most proud but most scared I've ever been. Most proud but also most disappointed. I was like, oh no.
Maybe you will get them Mia feelings then if Frank does it.
Hopefully not.
Going back to that night though, the atmosphere was absolutely mental, but you were quite clearly very locked in. Could you hear the crowd at all?
It was very much blocked out. Like, I always go back to the first knockdown in the 4th round, like where I drop Lawrence and I have to like step over his legs to walk to the neutral corner, and I just walk. And I remember watching myself the first few times when I watched it back, watching myself walk back. I'm like, who are you? Like, how are you so calm? You've just knocked down like an ex-gym mate reigning world champion, like
in the Vitality,
in the stadium. Like, how are you so chilled? And like, I don't know why. My mind was so right that night. You can obviously hear the crowd, and it probably did give me a massive boost. But I think the stuff I'd kind of gone into this fight, I went into it like, do not let the crowd affect you, because the BIC has massively affected me when I've boxed there. And I've got way too hyped, and all the fights have been like, I've either just tried to walk people down and not perform that well, or they, like the Chamberlain one was like a to and fro war. And so I've never actually boxed anywhere near my best of my abilities in the BIC.
So it's the next morning, bruised and battered, but you've won a world title. What are you actually feeling like?
So I had an after party booked for my mate at my mate's place in town, but I was at the stadium till 2:30, and I think this place was shutting at 3. So it was like 2:30 in the morning by the time.
So you made your party?
No. Mia's gone home, and I'm like left there, like with there with Rob and Ben. We end up getting a taxi, they're buzzing. As we walk out the stadium, like, there's no one left. Just before we walk out, I go and look at the pitch one last time, like with the ring getting taken down and stuff. And then there's no one left in there. And then as I'm walking out, there's two guys stood outside. One with a poster, like a Bet365 poster. And it's like, Chris, can you sign this? And I was like, mate, I've been waiting this whole time. He was like, yeah. And I was like, fair play. Like,
You've got to sign that.
I signed this poster for this player. It was like 2:30 in the morning. He'd been there I think I got back in the change room at
dedication.
11:15. So we got a taxi. Rob's like telling the taxi driver, he's going, he's like, mate, he's just won a world title at the stadium. He's like, Rob's opening the case because I still had Lawrence's belt because Lawrence had left. Usually I'd give it back.
Yeah.
But because I had everything that's going on, like I didn't get a chance to give it back to him. So and then he's like, open the case, and the bloke's like, cool, like he couldn't care less. And I was like,
You're
Rob,
just back to being Chris Billam-Smith
yeah,
now.
but Rob was like,
Immediately humbled.
Yeah, he didn't really understand like why this guy didn't care, and I was like, why would he care? From the hotel, I go home at like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm in the taxi on the way home. The guy's like, there was a boxing event at at the stadium tonight, and I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I boxed because I saw the cut, and I think we got on. Don't know how we got onto it. He's like, yeah, it was a local guy, and I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, that's me. He's like, no way. So yeah, it was just a wild week, and just an amazing feeling. I do like, as you can tell, like talking about it and reflecting. I think it's important to look back on that and enjoy the journey.
But from one wild week to another, we're now a year later and we're at Crystal Palace, and you're hoping to avenge the loss of Riakporhe and then, like you said, do it in honour of Daniga. Did that win mean more than winning a world title in Bournemouth because of the circumstances?
No, I don't think it meant more. I just think it was just very satisfying. Being in Bournemouth, just everything about a night, nothing will beat it. But yeah, it was a very, very satisfying win. I think it was a big shock for a lot bigger shock for other people, that fight, than it was for us. Mm-hmm. We kind of knew how the fight should go, and would go, and it did, and did go that way. So yeah, we felt very comfortable. It was a very comfortable night for me. Another football stadium which has never lost on me. Like, to fight at my home stadium's a dream, but as a kid I wanted to be a Premier League footballer, as many kids do. So to be able to fight at my home stadium and then fight at Selhurst Park as an away fight at there, like that, I got the best of both worlds.
Has becoming a world champion changed you at all, like even a little bit?
I think so. I think confirmed some beliefs, like in all the work I've done over the years and the mindset I've had over the years of turning up to my amateur boxing sessions early and leaving late and doing a bit extras, and doing all those extras have paid off over the years, and I've continued to do it. In not turning up to sessions and doing stuff like that, but just doing more and finding more ways to improve myself as an athlete and as a fighter, and give me a lot of belief and confidence.
Round 3, the testing rounds, where the challenges intensify. So you went out to Riyadh to fight Gilberto Ramirez. It was a Mexican night there, again, despite having won 2 defences of the world title. Arguably people would have said underdog, but maybe a bit more even. Unfortunately, you came out with a loss. How long did it take you to watch that fight back? Have you watched that fight back?
I watched it back on the flight home. I downloaded it and watched it back on the flight home, yeah. I've always done that. I just use it as like exposure therapy. I think I just immerse myself in it, and then you can deal with it better. I watched it back on the flight home. Battered and bruised. I had my hand in a soft cast because that was broken there. That thumb was broken. 28 stitches I think I had, like 6 internal and the rest external. I was in so much pain. I'd never been in as much pain. So
aside from the physical pain, how painful was the loss?
Of course it hurts, but I'm annoyed because I'm annoyed in ways, but you can't dwell on it too much. I think you got to just get better from there. I think, but I'd left everything in the ring. Maybe not skillfully, but effort-wise, I couldn't have given any more. I think it took me a while to sort of fully process it, I'd say, in terms of not being world champion anymore. Like, that still eats away at me now, but not in a negative way. I think it's a positive way. The hardest thing was coming home and feeling like that, and all I want to do is go home and hug my son. And I get in the house and I walk in and he goes, "Daddy," and looks at me and goes, "I don't like your ouchies." And he wouldn't cuddle me for like 4 or 5 days. He wouldn't come near me. And I was like, that is the most heartbreaking thing ever. I was like, kids will really rip your heart out.
You had quite a lot of momentum going into that fight. Do you think has it stalled that momentum?
Yeah, I think so. But I also got probably hung up on my strengths and too much. And I thought they'd just get me through that fight, but they didn't. So I think it was a lesson that I needed, and then to improve me further and make me a better fighter. And I think that's what it's done in the long term for sure.
Does it make it harder fighting away and just being away in general? Well, at the time it was just Frank, but now obviously there's Frank and Bear.
Yeah, I'm better now at compartmentalising work and home life. Back then I struggled for a long time. The Riakporhe camp was really struggling to be away from them.
Did you question, like, is it worth it? Like, what do I want to do this anymore?
Yeah, a lot. And I think now I've kind of come to peace, and me and Mia kind of know where we're at. On the Clanton one, I think was the same. I felt like I was like, can I be bothered anymore? Like, what is it for now? Like, and then after the fight, I was like, what's next, kind of thing. But I had a good break over the summer, just learning more about what I want for me and my family. It was really difficult for a while. I think it's probably the high of the world title fight, then coming down from that.
Round 4, the championship rounds, the rounds that distinguish the good from the great. You had a little break, so what's that fire that's been lit again?
I just self-improvement. I've got a love for boxing again. I've kind of had a little dip, and now I can sort of catapult back up.
But if you did decide now that you were going to retire, would you look back and be satisfied fully?
No, because otherwise I'd be retired. If you can retire and be fully satisfied with your career and feel like there's nothing left to give, then you need to retire. Like then, but for me, I've got big goals and aspirations. There's a few things I need to tick off.
You are a real hometown hero in Bournemouth. When it's all said and done, what do you want Bournemouth to remember you as? One of their own, I guess. I think I've had that sung about me at the stadium, which has been an amazing feeling, and at the shows as well. I don't know. I just want to. I love the town. I love the football club is the heart of that town, and I love the football club. And I love the community down there. I think my career is based around my fans, and I owe so much to them, because there's no way, if they hadn't turned up for the Chamberlain fight and the Jojo fight, I would never have been boxing that stadium. So they've given me an opportunity to fulfil my complete dream in boxing by winning a world title there. 4 rounds, 1 fighter, 1 journey. This has been Rounds with Chris Billam-Smith.